Look at your life. Analyze the balance sheet of your past 20 years. What is your emotional return on investment, ROI? I tell you it is zero, or perhaps severely negative. You are currently hemorrhaging time, energy, and emotional capital into fools, toxic, high-maintenance individuals who offer no return, provide no peace, and actively deplete your vital reserves. You are running a bankrupt enterprise. At 55, this is not merely an emotional problem, it is an existential crisis of allocation. You are out of time for poor investment. The core premise, the harsh truth, is this: trauma is not what they did to you. It is your continuous choice to invest in their bankruptcy. You are wasting your life on fools because you fear that if you redirect that focus inward, you will discover that there is nothing substantial left. The most catastrophic failure in your personal portfolio is the failure to allocate time. You use your scarcest, most precious resource, your time and peak energy, to manage their chaos instead of building your own peace. You prioritize answering the urgent but ultimately meaningless demands of the fool over scheduling and executing the long-term, high-value projects of your own life, your health, your hobbies, your genuine friendship. This constant diversion of resources is not loyalty. It is a profound strategic error. The analyst observes that you are effectively a high-paid CEO, spending 90% of your time sorting through the company trash, ensuring the vital, revenue-generating departments, your own well-being and future, fail due to neglect. Your compliance is a form of self-sabotage, ensuring that your life yields only debt and depletion. This misallocation is rooted deeply in the trauma lie that binds you. The abuse trauma taught you that your value is strictly determined by your utility to others. Therefore, you are pathologically compelled to serve, rescue, and manage the fool to prove your own worthiness. This is not compassion. It is a perverse, addictive form of self-validation. You chase the low-value interaction because it is easy. It requires compliance, not self-assertion. The high-value investment, the singular focus on you, requires the terrifying act of saying no, which your trauma has conditioned you to avoid at all costs. You are stuck in a transactional loop where you constantly overpay for toxic attention. The consequences of this misdirected focus are terminal. By allowing the fool to consume your bandwidth, you are guaranteeing that you will die empty. You will reach the end of your life having successfully managed the crises of everyone else, but having failed spectacularly to build your own legacy of peace and autonomy. The terminal regret will be the stark realization that you had the power, the resource, and the time, but you squandered them all on people who were fundamentally unworthy of your investment. This is the final failure, the failure to focus. Your only path to profitability, to a life well lived, is the immediate, brutal transfer of all emotional, financial, and temporal capital from the fool to the self. The time for intellectual debate and emotional negotiation is over. We need to perform a cold, calculated audit of the failures of the toxic triad: abuse, rejection, and failure, and explicitly link them to your current inability to focus on yourself. We will expose how these deep wounds justify your poor investment choices. The immediate radical transfer of focus must begin tonight. If you are ready to terminate this crisis of allocation and transfer your life's remaining capital to the only shareholder who matters, then right now, write the word enough in the comments. Your continuous reckless investment in toxic individuals, in the fools, is not a random act of altruism. It is a calculated pathological defense mechanism fueled by your unaddressed toxic triad. Let us dissect the investment strategy dictated by your trauma. The abuse trauma ensures burden number 2, the belief in disposable resources. You were taught that your time, energy, and emotional bandwidth were not finite or valuable. They were disposable tools to be used by others. This lie keeps you addicted to the rescue project because by serving the fool, you feel temporarily useful, thus validating your core worth. You chase the chaotic, low-value interaction because it is the only way your system knows how to prove it deserves to exist. This self-inflicted resource abuse guarantees exhaustion and burnout, ensuring that when you finally retire from the service of others, you have no energy left for yourself. Now, analyze the most dangerous investment strategy dictated by the rejection trauma, which enforces burden number 3, the zero-sum focus fallacy. The fear of solitude is so acute that you believe any focus on your own well-being, any boundary, any no that protects your time, will result in the immediate and total abandonment by others. This creates the fatal focus fallacy. You believe that self-care is a luxury that must be postponed until the external world stabilizes, which, of course, never happens. You are terrified that if you invest in yourself, the fool will leave and your life will prove to be empty. This weakness is the core reason you refuse to cut ties. The fool provides a loud, constant distraction from the terrifying question of who you are when you are not useful. The analyst observes that you are trading potential dignity for guaranteed noise. The final strategic error is born of the failure trauma, leading to burden number 4, the inability to build. The memory of past failures, whether in business, personal goals, or relationships, convinces you that you are fundamentally incapable of creating something better than what you currently possess. This vulnerability causes you to focus all your energy on repairing the broken project, the fool, rather than starting a new, healthy one yourself. The thought of cutting the fool and investing in a new hobby, career, or social circle is paralyzed by the fear of failing again. This ensures you remain tethered to the familiar, if painful, mediocrity. You choose to manage their known dysfunction because building your own success feels too high risk. This is not loyalty. It is a bankrupt strategy rooted in self-doubt. The common currency in all these poor investments is your focus. Your focus is your most valuable non-renewable asset, and you are allowing these fools to treat it as free, unlimited credit. This misallocation is why your life feels perpetually stalled and depleted. You are attempting to heal the wound of a traumatic past by constantly trying to fix toxic external figures, but this is a structural impossibility. The only way to reverse the damage is to declare an immediate, non-negotiable transfer of focus. You must acknowledge that the pain you are currently experiencing is not the trauma itself, but the direct, calculated result of your current investment strategy. The fool benefits directly from your continuous resources. The crisis of allocation must be met with immediate, cold action. The next stage of this analysis will quantify the precise terminal cost of this misdirected focus, the specific losses to your health, your time, and your soul that you are incurring by failing to change your investment portfolio tonight. This inventory is critical because it forces you to prioritize your future over your past excuses. Prepare yourself for the cold reckoning of your balance. Do not dare look away. Your financial and emotional solvency depends entirely on the next segment. We have analyzed the structural failures. Now, we quantify the terminal cost. The single greatest lie you cling to is the fantasy of the salvageable fool. This is burden number 5, the irrational belief that if you invest just a little more time, money, and emotional energy, the toxic individual will finally stabilize, or your relationship will finally yield a positive ROI. This fantasy is the most potent inhibitor of your self-preservation. You are running a perpetually failing venture, and instead of cutting your losses, you are pouring in endless capital, driven by the trauma-based need to prove that you can fix what was once broken, the historical project of your own past. The analyst confirmed the fool is not salvageable. Your energy is wasted. Your continued investment is a deliberate act of self-harm, ensuring that your finite reserves are consumed, guaranteeing you will die empty. The time for management is over. The time for liquidation is now. The primary loss incurred by this misdirected focus is the catastrophic opportunity cost. Every hour spent managing the fool's chaos is an hour subtracted from a high-value personal project. Building financial security, pursuing a forgotten passion, or simply restoring your depleted physical health. This leads to burden number 6, the terminal regret of the unlived life. At 65, you will look back and realize you designed your life around preventing other people's failures rather than ensuring your own success. The financial capital you spent bailing out their irresponsibility could have secured your own comfortable retirement. The emotional capital you spent mediating their disputes could have built the authentic, reciprocal, social circle you crave. This cold audit proves that your life's greatest expenditure has been the continuous, reckless investment in the low-value assets that actively diminish your portfolio. This perpetual state of resource depletion directly translates into burden number 7, the accelerated health decline. The continuous stress of managing the fool, the phone calls, the demands, the unexpected crisis is not merely emotional. It is a measurable physical assault on your cardiovascular and immune system. You are literally trading years of life and quality of life for the sake of avoiding the difficult, necessary confrontation. Your failure to focus on your own well-being is the direct result of the abuse trauma that defined your worth as utility. You cannot be a martyr and be healthy. The choice is binary. Focus on the fool and guarantee burnout, or focus on yourself and secure longevity. The fool will continue to consume until you declare the asset worthless and cut the funding. The point of rupture is here, tonight. The core issue is your belief in lie number 5, that the cost of confrontation is greater than the cost of compliance. Your weakness is not fear of failure, but fear of the necessary explosive conflict that results when you finally say, "My resources are reserved for me." The moment you stop managing their chaos, the fool will escalate. They will deploy guilt, tears, or manufactured crisis. This explosion is not a setback. It is the strategic signal of your success. Their rage proves that their easy credit line has been terminated. You must hold the line, recognizing that their fury is merely the predictable, final sound of the parasite starving. Retreating now means returning to a life of zero ROI, guaranteeing that you will reach the end empty, having nothing to show for your efforts but the well-managed crises of unworthy people. Your only chance to reverse this terminal trend is the immediate, non-negotiable transfer of focus. You must declare this bankrupt venture liquidated and reallocate all resources to the high-value asset, yourself. The time for trying to save the fool is over. Your responsibility is not to heal their past. Your responsibility is to ensure that their present does not cannibalize your future. The choice is between radical self-focus tonight and terminal emptiness later. If this audit has hit home and you are ready to stop subsidizing their failure, then share this video with one person who is currently wasting their life on fools, and write reallocate in the comments to commit to this final focus. The audit is complete, and the financial prognosis for continued inertia is failure. We must now enact the protocol of allocation, your new Magna Carta designed to transfer all your resources from the fool to the only high-value asset remaining, you. This protocol is not about being mean. It is about establishing a ruthless, sustainable investment policy. Your weakness is rooted in burden number 8, the belief in shared responsibility. You feel obligated to manage their emotional and financial failures because you believe their crisis is somehow your burden. You must sever this lie. Your responsibility ends where their capacity for self-management begins. The successful execution of this transfer requires the ironclad three non-negotiable rules for focus that mandate a 100% reallocation of capital. The first rule is the rule of ROI, return on investment, the capital protection clause. You will only invest time, energy, or money where the expected return is positive for your well-being. This means cutting burden number 9, the subsidization of chaos. You will no longer provide financial aid, emotional bailouts, or crisis management for the fool's self-inflicted problem. The answer to any demand is now a simple, cold, factual denial. My funds are allocated elsewhere, or I cannot spare that time. This rule addresses the abuse trauma by proving that your utility is no longer their guaranteed safety net. You are teaching them that their chaos now carries a cost, the immediate loss of access to your resources, and that cost is non-negotiable and final. The second rule you must implement tonight is the rule of non-emergency, the scheduled focus clause. This eliminates burden number 10, the tyranny of the urgent. You will no longer allow the fool's manufactured crisis to dictate your daily schedule. Any attempt by the fool to disrupt your peace with an emergency must be met with a cold, logistical counter-response. You will state, I am unavailable for emergencies that are not physical or medical. We can schedule a brief discussion next Tuesday. This simple adherence to an immovable schedule protects your focus and addresses the rejection trauma. By proving that your time is not worthless and that you do not need to drop everything to secure their approval. Your commitment is to your schedule, not their sudden need for drama. This is the only way to convert chaos into controllable, manageable time unit. The third law of your Magna Carta is the rule of exclusive investment, the self-first clause. Your focus must be treated as a sacred trust reserved exclusively for the projects and people that contribute to your joy, health, and personal growth. This means actively and consistently diverting the time previously wasted on the fool back to yourself. Invest the energy you save by not answering the toxic text into a hobby. Invest the money saved by refusing a bailout into a medical checkup or a vacation. This rule addresses the failure trauma by forcing you to take successful, tangible steps toward building your own future, proving through action that you are capable of creating something better than the misery you left behind. Your personal success is the ultimate non-negotiable ROI, and it requires a dedicated, exclusive focus. When you enforce this protocol of allocation, the fool will not submit gracefully. They will escalate. They will accuse you of being cruel, selfish, and calculating. They are correct on the last point. You must be calculating. Their emotional reaction is proof that you have finally shifted the power dynamics and severed their credit line. You must treat their fury as the sound of your investment finally generating return. The only thing worse than their rage is the terminal regret of having returned to the familiar bankruptcy of your past. To solidify your commitment to this final focus, I need you to do this. Find one high-value project, a hobby, a health goal, a financial plan, and immediately allocate 30 minutes to it tonight. Then write the name of that project in the comment section right now. You have executed the protocol of allocation. The furious blowback from the fool is confirmation that your investment strategy is working perfectly. They are angry because they have lost their guaranteed resource, your focus, your time, and your money. This is your final confrontation, the acceptance of the prophet. The biggest fear remaining is the void of solitude, the trauma-based conviction that when the chaos is gone, you will be empty. I tell you, the silence you now experience is not emptiness. It is the pure, uncompromised profit of your autonomy. You must fill this strategic vacuum immediately with your exclusive investment, your own growth. Do not mistake the absence of drama for the absence of life. Life is found in the high, stable line of peace, and you have earned that stability by enforcing the rule of ROI. You are not alone. You are simply financially solvent in terms of emotional capital, and that is the highest state of being. The continuous investment in fools was a catastrophic defense mechanism designed to avoid burden number 11, the terminal regret of dying empty. Your biggest fear is not death, but the realization that you reached the end having poured all your precious resources into other people's failed projects, leaving nothing but debt and exhaustion for yourself. By enforcing the Ironclad 3, you have terminated that contract with misery. You must now view every hour dedicated to your high-value project, your health, your learning, your passion, as a direct deposit into your dignity account. This act of ruthless self-preservation is the only ethical imperative that matters now. Your life is not a dress rehearsal. It is the main event, and the responsibility to make it profitable falls solely on you. The shame and guilt deployed by the fool are merely noise. Your focus must remain on the high-value returns you are generating. Your final act of strength is the permanent reallocation of focus. You must not allow the memory of the fool or the lingering guilt to steal your attention. Every time the thought of their drama attempts to trespass, you must immediately enforce the rule of non-emergency and redirect your mental capital to your designated high-value project. This sustained, disciplined focus is the only way to heal the failure trauma and prove to yourself that you are capable of building something lasting and worthwhile. The time for serving others' deficits is over. The time for building your own surplus has begun. Your sustained focus is the hammer that shatters the chains of the past. The return on this investment is not just peace. It is the final, tangible proof of your self-worth. The strategic failure of the past was treating your personal assets as infinitely renewable resources. The success of the future lies in treating your time and energy as finite, precious capital that is strictly reserved for self-investment. Your decision tonight to cut the fools and embrace the protocol of allocation is the definitive philosophical shift from being a victim of circumstance to being the sovereign owner of your life's portfolio. You are not waiting for happiness. You are actively calculating it through disciplined action. The only thing worse than their rage is the self-contempt you would feel for having retreated. You must hold the line because the alternative is terminal emptiness. You have secured your freedom and your focus. The final victory, creation of a life so compelling, so profitable, and so peaceful that the memory of the fool becomes nothing more than a footnote in your annual report. Your focus is the only asset that guarantees a return. To ensure this change is irreversible and to commit to continuous self-investment, I need you to commit to sustaining your exclusive investment strategy. Right now, if you are committed to maintaining your high-value focus, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. Then, to finalize your contract with self-sovereignty, write the percentage of focus you will dedicate to yourself starting tomorrow, e.g., 90% focus, in the comment section. Execute the final action and secure your profit.